So it's been a little while from I've been talking to some of you guys. Some of you have been asking what has happened to Amorgin, why he's gone quiet and all of this kind of stuff. So I'm just touching base with you guys very briefly today. Couple of things I want to cover. Real life has taken over, guys. There's some things going on. I've just had no appetite for any YouTube stuff. I've had no appetite for any Star Trek Fleet Command or in-game or any of that kind of stuff. So it's the way things go sometimes with real life. We always remember that the community's there. I want to thank the guys that are out there in the community that have been offering their support to me and all of that kind of stuff. I'm not the sort of person to share my personal life online and try to get views from sharing with you guys how awful things can be. There's plenty of players out there, as we all know, that are going through tough times and they turn to the community. And I personally want to thank all of the guys that have been offering their support to me, knowing that I'm out of the game for a while. I popped a couple of long shields in Star Trek Fleet Command. I haven't really had any time to be really getting into it in any significant kind of way. That is up until the last couple of days, where I was triggered by a couple of events and felt that I needed to touch base with you guys, let you know where I'm at, and give a little bit of a commentary on where things are at with the game and my thoughts and my feelings on it. Before we get into the negativity and the stuff and the reasons why, like the title says, why Scopely won't be getting my money and why all along I haven't spent an awful lot of money on this game at all. I've spent plenty of money on games and my own entertainment over the years. But a game like this that I love, that I've been involved with for a number of years, been around from its very, very early days. Why is Amorgin not spending money on this? And this is one of the reasons why I'm going to give you. There are other reasons why, and we might do that in another video at a later stage. But for today's video, guys, the initial intention, I suppose, was to go on a bit of a rant about what was triggering me, what was pissing me off in the last couple of days, what made me think I need to get a video out and I need to have my say on this. And then today we had this roadmap update, and it kind of quelled my anger a little bit. It made me feel like maybe things are going in a slightly better direction. Maybe I don't need to be ranting and raving about all of the negativity. We will do a little bit of that towards the end of this video. But I want to give a mention. It would be remiss of me if I didn't give a mention to this roadmap update, because even though I've maybe developed a wee bit of a reputation for being overtly critical of Scopely and not being afraid to stick it up to them and speak my mind, even at the cost of getting followers and subscribers and not getting the biggest audience necessarily and all of that. And there are people out there who have been critical of me for doing that, because I could have a bigger platform and maybe reach more people if I were to tone it down a little bit and all of that kind of stuff. But that's just not in my nature. I like to say it as I say it. But also I like to give a bit of credit where it's due, and today I felt like that was necessary. We were on Discord chatting to a couple of people, particularly the longer term players, and we were looking at this roadmap update. So I want to just give a wee bit of a focus on that before we get into the kind of more negative stuff. So it's something we have called for in the community for a long time. It feels like it's years now at this stage. Some of the guys in Discord were saying much the same sort of stuff. Some of the criticisms that's out there at the moment when it comes to this kind of stuff, there's a lot of cynicism because of the track record that Scopely have. But with this, people are saying like it's a little bit too little, too late, and stuff like that. But I for one, I'm hopeful that this is a sign of things maybe eventually turning around and going in a positive direction. Scopely finally and eventually listening that the community managers are actually maybe getting their voice heard within the Scopely hierarchy. And so credit to all of these guys that are out there that have made this happen, because this is a long time coming. It's way overdue. And we'll just get into the meat of it. I'm not going to labour all of it too much, guys. You come into Discord and discuss the nuanced elements of it, what your opinions are on it, whether you think it's going to be happening sooner rather than later, or if it's coming soon, or whatever you think it is. But the roadmap in itself, it's been a long time coming, like I say. We've been calling for it in the sense that we've asked Scopely time and time again to consult with the players, let us know what they're doing, let us know what their thoughts are and where they're at. and let us then give some feedback and maybe guide the developers along the lines of what we feel would work or what wouldn't work. There's a severe lack of proper testing goes on with this game. Sometimes they go live with their new content and it's full of bugs and all of that kind of stuff. And you know it's a running joke at Scopely now at this stage. And this is a real indicator that things could be turning in a positive direction. We're looking at this territory capture. Now, the community panel was suggesting things like this more than a year ago. We were discussing elements like this, and people like Anisius and Flando and others there will be will remember that we and guys like Thaler, who no longer plays the game even, and Spork and guys like that will remember that we discussed different sort of mechanics that could come into the game. So this territory capture is looking like it could be a very, very positive thing. Now, again, some of the criticism we're hearing is like, is this going to be just another cash grab and all of that? So let's hope, fingers crossed, that there is a free-to-play option in this, that it's not all about getting the money. No doubt that cash-driven content is what is selling this internally within the Scopely hierarchy. No doubt that it's the prospect of making more money out of the players, and a game that I suppose now has matured a fair bit. It's no longer the new shiny product on the market. There are other games coming out, and it's time for Scopely maybe to start thinking about new ways to keep people interested and attract new players. So this kind of stuff, we've seen it in lots of other mobile games, and it's a bit like Scopely are slow learners sometimes, but they're finally going in the right direction. These kind of mechanics we've seen in other games numerous times. Lots and lots of other games have it. It's about time that Star Trek Fleet Command have it, and it's great to see it finally coming in. So the Alliance territories offering us buffs for having control of them. Sounds in theory like it could be a very, very positive thing. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know how long we're going to wait on it, but I'm looking very much forward to it. Personalized starships, like, okay, you know, is the more cosmetic stuff. That's no problem. They're looking at it. A second builder, again, something we've seen in lots of other games, and the opportunity to be able to build more than one thing at a time. Probably going to have to pay for a second builder, but then, you know, if you want to speed something up and you pay a few pounds, as long as it's not extortionate, you want to pay a few pounds for a 24-hour builder or a week-long builder or whatever it is, I have no difficulty with that. If people want to fast track what they're doing, they're willing to pay for it. Officer away missions sounds very much like an attractive thing. We've seen that we've seen something similar in Star Trek Online, for example, where you can send your officers off to do things, get them experience points, they can bring back materials and all of that. We've seen it in lots of other games, like games like Assassin's Creed comes to mind. It's Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, I think, where you could send off your other assassins at the pigeon post, and they'll go off and they'll do missions and all of that kind of stuff. So a nice little sideline, like a mini game within the game, I suppose, and bringing back practical resources. Maybe we'll see how that turns out, but the theory behind it seems to be sound. Something, last online status, again, you've seen this in games from day dot. Like, in most games go to market with this kind of thing in it, and it's 2 years now that this game's out on the market, I suppose, and it's about time. We've called for that loads and loads of times. About time for alliances to be able to tell when people have last been online, so that they can trim down their membership if people have gone seriously inactive and things like that. More content on the way, fair enough. Let's keep skipping back to the start. And balancing your time, which is a nice segue into the stuff that I really want to do on this video. Balancing your time is something that I suppose it's always the individual player's option to decide how much time they want to put into the game. You know, they're saying over the last year we've added several new side loops, heavily increased the demand for daily activity for most of our players. We're now looking at possible improvements. Now players are stronger agency in managing their playtime. If that if that is as it reads, and it's going to allow people to be able to manage their playtime a bit better without it being a constant grind all the time with more and more things to do every day, and you just end up sitting there and thinking like, I don't have the time to be able to participate in all of these different pieces of content. You're going to have to prioritize one over the other and get your dailies done and different things. So it's really welcome to think that they're looking at balancing your time, but it seems a little bit contradictory to what we've been looking at in the last couple of days, particularly when it comes to some of the comments that I've been getting from people out there in the community around the idea that the amount of time that you're going to have to spend, in particular on things like this distinguished service event. Like currently we're in the middle of this Rage of the Klingons event, which is very welcome for us, for the guys in Hum and for the guys on our server who like a bit of PvP, or for any server you like a bit of PvP. The Rage of the Klingons seems to be a good event. It certainly allows me and others a bit of an outlet to go out and take out your rage as a Klingon out on other players and do your bit of a PvP and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm enjoying the Rage of the Klingons at the moment. The Hum lads are enjoying it at the moment. But the main thing I want to talk about is these flash events. We've seen the introduction of these flash events with the mycelium mining and the discovery arc and all, and now they've brought in these flash events that's based around going out and farming these reds in the critical systems using critical officers and all of that kind of stuff. We're looking at this happening every hour on the half hour for 15 minutes. Constantly around the clock, and people there going and putting in serious hours. Like my buddy Twitcher, there's one guy, for example, rampant. Like the guys put in serious hours into doing this. Now, it's all well and good if you're able to do that, but there are people there who are a little bit more vulnerable or have addictive personalities and things like this, and it just feels a bit bad. And we'll come back to that in a wee moment. These flash events, in theory, they seem to be a good idea, but in practice, I just feel like it's exploiting people a little bit too much. Now, having said that, the Alliance Flash events, the feedback I'm getting from people and from my own personal experience, the Alliance Flash events seem to be a more enjoyable experience. They're a little bit more chaotic. You're doing these armadas in these systems and killing the hostiles and all of that, and it's all over the place. There's no time for planning. For an Alliance like ours in Hum there, where we don't spend an overly long time planning too many of our stuff. We get stuck in, we go out. I think one of the boys was like, I think Phil was saying Autobots roll out when all the guys are just landing and it's just a little bit of chaos and all. It's a bit of fun. I'm enjoying it and the Hum lads seem to be enjoying it. So more of the Alliance Flash events maybe, and less of these solo Flash events might be a way to go. But what really triggered me in all of this here was when I was on the way home. I like a lot of people doing these flash events. You're trying to get online and into the game. If you want to take part properly in this distinguished service event, you don't want to be missing your flash event on the hour. So people are depriving themselves of sleep. People are taking toilet runs while they're at work. People are pulling in at the side of the road when they're driving home or driving to work, just to be able to take part for a couple of minutes in these flash events. And they're compromising real life because of it. Now, I know people have to take responsibility for their own actions. Nobody's forcing anybody to go and spend the time on this event. But when you set the marker and you set the bar so high, and you're expecting people to be able to do this, and you allow people to be able to go and go on 24-hour or 48-hour binges, basically, of these flash events, it's a really cynical way of getting people to engage with the game. Now, I've had this debate with others before around the idea of you don't blame the barman for selling the alcohol to the alcoholic, right? And I've had this debate before, and that's fair enough. If somebody's going to spend extra time, then that's on their own head and all of that, and I get that. But the reality is there are more vulnerable people out there. There are people out there with addictive personalities, and this is a very, very cynical way of exploiting people and getting them to participate in the content. And what triggered me, like I say, was I was on the way home. I pulled in at the side of the road to be able to do parked up and to be able to do me couple of minutes of the flash event. I was constantly doing it throughout the day. I was doing reasonably well, ranking relatively high in this distinguished service event, getting on and managing to do the flash events, and and the phone died when I went on the way home, and I'd participated, I'd completed the event, I'd scored enough points, but the phone died. And then when I'd gotten home, I couldn't get the rewards because they need to be collected seemingly before the next event starts. So I just had this moment that it was really triggered, where I felt like, why have I been putting in such a bloody effort into trying to achieve the rewards out of this here, when real life is clashing with the game? And an unfortunate event like a phone dying, or you're trying to do this on the way home and whatever, and then you don't even get the bloody rewards. I just felt like giving up on the whole bloody thing, and it did dampen the whole experience for me. Add into that there are people out there who are not as careful as me. I'll be pretty careful. I'll make sure I get enough sleep. I'll make sure that it's not interfering too much in real life, and I'll try to manage my time a bit better. Now, if it's a case that every man takes responsibility for his own actions, and you don't blame the barman for selling the alcohol to the alcoholic, then why do we have restrictions in terms of how much alcohol can be sold? Like, for example, if you want to use that analogy, if bars were open 24 hours a day, and people were allowed to go in and drink away till their heart's content, and the publicans are sitting there planning specifically how to exploit more money out of the alcoholics, and they're sitting there specifically saying, well, there's a guy that's going to spend 48 hours non-stop drinking at our bar and spending his money. How do we get him to spend that extra amount of money by staying open 24 hours, 48 hours, or whatever? Remember, this Distinguished Service event is 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, whatever it is, with one break in between. At time of recording, we're just past the 48-hour mark, and we've had 48 hours of these flash events, and we've moved into this Rage of the Klingons as a bit of a break, a 24-hour break, and presumably we're going to be straight back into the flash events then. So it's a 48-hour period where some people have got minimal sleep. They've let this impact on their real life, and some people are just going out like maniacs on it. Now, let them at it if they want to do that. I personally won't do that, but I want a reasonable shot at being able to participate in this, and I don't want to be punished if my phone dies, and I don't want to lose out on the rewards, especially if I've participated. And I have a real concern, given what some people have sent me in private messages on Discord and things, around how frustrated they are with this. And we've seen it in the gaming community time and time again, where people have really, really made bad decisions, and those are the slightly more vulnerable people that are out there in the community. And some of the messages I've got are frightening in terms of, and I might do another video on that specifically, but it's frightening in terms of the lengths that people are going to take part in this event. And Scopely have deliberately and cynically put this event out and designed it for this specific purpose. It is not the way to go. It's compromising people in their health and their welfare, and it shouldn't happen. So that is ultimately, it's that ethos, that attitude that they have. That's really why I won't give this company any of my hard-earned cash. If I seen a better ethos from this company, I'd happily part with my money. I've done it with other games companies, but a company that is so open and so cynical about exploiting people for their cash, and not giving a shit about the health implications and the mental health implications in particular, but the welfare implications that are out there for players, it's shocking. You're looking at these flash events, you wouldn't want to have a life or a job, folks. Like, you know what I mean? If you're going to be on the hour, like, come on, like, it just makes no sense to me. It really needs to be reworked. The Alliance flash events arguably are different because it's a team effort, and all you need to do is maybe get in and get on the scoreboard, or your team can maybe score them rewards for you and that kind of thing. It's maybe another way of looking at it, but if you've participated, you should be able to get those rewards irrespective of if you've missed out on claiming it before the next flash event goes. If you have participated, it doesn't matter, you should be able to claim those rewards regardless. So there you have it, guys. Exploitation unacceptable. I was pretty much badly triggered about this. It pulled me back into the game. I don't know where things are going to be at for me in real life. I'm not going to let this get me down. It's pixels at the end of the day. My advice to anybody out there is getting pulled into this and is getting triggered, and some of them people that that have sent me private messages. Remember, it's just pixels, guys, and drop the game and step out of it for a while. You may not be getting an awful lot of content from me over the coming weeks and months. This could well, my real life circumstances could well transfer into the new year. I'm not entirely sure what way it's going to go for me. When I get the time, I'll quite happy to do a video. I'll be around on Discord and I'll touch base with people when I'm available. And I'm quite happy to hear your thoughts on all of this, guys. What has pissed you off? What do you think is working? Have you had any positive or negative experience with these flash events or this distinguished service event? And I hope everybody's looking after themselves. I intend to look after myself, so I won't be around as much as I would like to. But I'll not be too far away if somebody really needs to reach out. And remember, guys, on Discord, there's lots of other people there with lots of experience in the game who are perfectly willing to offer support and advice if you need it. And I want to thank all of those guys that make themselves available to offer that support and advice to their fellow players. Because without them, this game wouldn't be half as enjoyable as it actually is at times. Those are the people that keep you coming back. Those are the people that certainly keep me coming back. And I'm going to wrap it up at that, guys. Rant over. Leave your thoughts and comments below, of course. Come and join us on Discord. And until next time, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. And I'll chat to you all again soon. Cheers.